Welcome, everybody. Today, talk about the mole, the setup. Is it effective as a solo or a group? How much money can you make from it? And little tips and tricks. Well, first off, the mole ideally is a multiple crew mining ship. It can effectively mine solo. However, you do have to be careful because it is a lot of extra work. But in my opinion, I'd much rather mole mine than prospector mine because you can get 3 times what a prospector can because it holds 96 SU versus 32. And you have bigger mining heads, which means you can crack up to easily 15 to 18K rocks. No problem. You throw a mining gadget into it, Bob's your uncle, you're walking away, especially with the way they have things now in 322. You're walking away with easy 15-20 minute loads. If you're lucky, if you're belt mining, you might be lucky enough to get a couple of extra, some actual quant or just fill up things in general. But planet side mining, I found recently, especially on a planet like Magda or the lesser known ones like Calliope, your Troopy, that kind of stuff, you don't get quant, but you get a lot of other materials that are worth a lot more because you get a lot more of it a lot quicker. Anyways, let's hop right in. I'll show you the rough setup of my mole before we get started. And before we begin, we're going to make sure we grab a mining gadget because I found mining gadgets, especially in the last couple of patches, are very much make or break. And they ultimately... Ooh, Starcity helmet. Forgot I got that off looting. There are multiple mining gadgets. I did do a video on how these work. If you guys would like, of course, subscribe, comment down below, and let me know what you think. But if you guys would like, I can go in a little bit more depth to the couple of different types of mining gadgets. I fall back on the stalwart, but it's only because it clusters, it cuts a little bit of resistance. There are ones that cut a massive amount of resistance, but they don't do anything else. Like you see, you got laser stability minus 35%, cluster modifier plus 30%, so it helps the rocks and the minerals cluster together. Optimal charge window charge rate plus 50%, so it's quicker, but it's a minus 30% reduction in the optimal window size. However, that is offset by... Let's pull up my ship loadout here. That is offset by my setup. Okay, so as for the setup, you can do it a couple of different ways. I have 2 Hofstedes and an impact. The impact is only because I literally haven't gone down to pick up a Helix. The Helix is the highest output, but it has the shortest range, and but it has, it's kind of the best for when you have everything else that cut your resistance, that kind of stuff, because it's just raw power. But this is what I use for solo and group mining. I don't change the mix up. Got your Hofstede heads, because your Hofstede heads, and you see here, size 2, they have a good optimal range, so that you're generally not in dire straits. It has good power. What's good about it is that its minimum is 10%, so it gives you so you can deal with big rocks, you can deal with small rocks. Resistance minus 30%, optimal charge rate plus 20%. It reduces the inert material by 40%. So if you're sucking stuff up, that's 40% less inert material. Laser instability plus 10%. My rule of thumb with mining, you can deal with a lot of resistance or a lot of instability, but you cannot deal with a lot of resistance. And as for modules, on all except for one, because I did the Hofstede only have 2 slots, I have the XTR XL because it bumps up the window charge rate, charge window size by 25%. lowers inert material by 6%, but then it reduces the extraction power laser, which honestly, as long as it's not hitting mining laser power, we're good. And then this is the best of the best. We got Riger C3. It bumps up your gives you 25% more power with only a reduction of 1% to your optimal charge window size. So this is the best. Now the C2, like you'll see here, the C2, it's 120%, and it's a little more. The price difference between the C2 and the C3 is astronomical. That's why I have so many C2s versus only 1 or 2 C3s, because at the time, I didn't feel like chasing down more C3s. So the C2 is what I do for most of them. And the last one, which this is mostly a support one, because the impact has a lot more power itself. And it's got a lot more extraction rate. So this one here, I use for, it's like, so you got 1, and you got 2, and then 3. You got 3 different turrets. This one here, it's got 3 module slots. About roughly, it's a little bit more power than the Hofstedes. It cuts laser instability by 10%. Optimal window charge size plus 20. Inert material, but it bumps resistance up 10%, but that is highly balanced out by the other 2 Hofstedes. An optimal charge window rate minus 40%. So it slows things down, but it adds a lot more power when you're multi-crewing. And the reason why I have this one set up as such is I have the Riger C2, the XTL, which gives you a larger charge window, and then I have a filter module that filters out inert material at, of course, the cost of extraction power, laser power. So this one here, if I have a very high rock where it's gold and like a high value material, so a tier one, not, even if it's quant, whatever, I'll take the time to hop in this turret and suck them up, just because it takes a lot less inert material. Anyways, I'll give you a tour of the mole, and then we will head to Magda. Yes, I know, from my prospector video. I love Magda. I love belt mining, but for quick and easy runs in and out, Magda is the place to go. Belt mining is something a little different. You have to know your jump distances. They used to have a Stanton marker you could jump to, but not so much anymore. And this is the mole with the Valentine's Day Love Struck paint. I generally use a white Dolvine paint, but I like this one as well. So there's my impact. It's got the 3 different gadgets on it. And then there's the turret for the one side. Now, it's interesting to note that everything except for this one. So this turret here has atmosphere, but the other 2 do not. So you got to make sure that you're suited and you're dressed for the elements whenever you do have multi-crew. And then you got, this is one of the Hofstedes, and it's got 2 of the modules, and it has a slot for a third, but they've only set it for 2. And the other Hofstede as well. It's got, like I said, carries 96 SCU. In the original prefaces, it has 4 sets of bags on it. So the theory is when mining is running, people can mine all they want. And then a cargo ship can come by, take them, or they can go to a refining ship. And then they can go from there. So then now, we just got to wait for our elevator. Now this thing here is of antiquated design, as is so evident. Almost all the doors do not automatically open. Like, you have to manually open all the doors. And then, like, when you hop in, this pulls ahead. It goes into the mining turret there. It does have a suit locker, which is nice. So that's the one side. And then this is the other side. Right? So you can see here, these are completely exposed to the elements. There's no No environmental protection in that whatsoever. So go up our ladder. Of course, we got to open all the doors. We got our mess hall. And we have a crew cabin. I think this is one of the few that's automatic. For 4. It's got 4 bunks here. Also a pilot and 3 operators. It's got a shower, suit lockers. And it's got another corridor here. This is the access to the nose mining turret. And then you got the cockpit. So as you can see, big difference between the Prospector and this. You have to set it up. You have to treat it like it's a mining platform versus a mining ship. You set it up. You got to set it up in a spot where you know you're going to be able to get almost anything between all your stuff, all your different turrets, and we'll go from there. So we're going to go to Magda. And another pro tip, always bring extra water, med pens or a med gun, because when you're mining and salvaging, you never know. And lastly, this ship here, unless VTOL's on in gravity, she falls out of the sky like a rock. Okay, so we're down here at Magda. And if you want like an in-depth guide to like the difference between belt mining and planet mining, let me know. I'll see what I can do to put it together for you. Because there is a vast difference between the two. In terms of like what you're looking for. Planet mining has larger clusters of smaller rocks. That's a change they made in 3.22. Whereas planet mining, sorry, if I said belt mining, I apologize. But belt mining has much larger rocks. So the one thing you gotta be careful of when you're planet mining, especially anywhere near like a site, you got to be careful. You got to be ready to kind of deke and run and dodge and avoid. All kind of important. But anyways, back to my explanation. The difference between planet mining and belt mining. Planet mining, they generally, especially in 3.22, they have changed it so that it is more geared towards the prospector. So you're going to have larger clusters of materials that may or may not be more valuable. But that's not saying they aren't valuable. It's just you got larger clusters. Belt mining, once you learn how to get to band 5, and again, I can do a video on that at a later time. I'm a little afraid of these ships, though. Then it looks like someone's got a bounty over each team or something. Anyways, let's drop down SEM so I'm not fighting on G-forces here. It's gonna be a big thing of rocks. Yep. Yeah, so if you have lots of friends, belt mining is the way to go because you get the 30, 40, 50k rocks. Not to say they don't happen planet side, but you just got to be aware that those are the two key differences. Now, how to get to the belt band 5, I could do a separate video on that. Make sure to comment down below. But the scanning is exactly the same as it is for your prospector, except you don't have, obviously, a dedicated mining arm out at all times. So you just set your scanner at 180 degrees, 90 degrees. 16k. Ooh, this could be valuable. Oh no, it's a festinite. Nope, that's not valuable. I saw the massive instability. Vexilite, but that's a 30k rock though. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to break that. I'd be hard pressed to break that, honestly, even with my gadget. This one I can definitely break at 14k. Around on this windstorm. I'm gonna have to wait this windstorm out, to be honest with you. Nope. All right. Just gonna take a guess at the distance because we have to make sure within an optimal range. Because honestly, that's the biggest. That's the biggest thing. Especially when you're mining, is hitting that optimal marker right on the dot. So to give myself a little extra power, because the mole has bonky shields, I have no problem putting full power to weapons, and I shut my weapons off. So that way there, the mining laser has more power. Very important, because the mining laser, when it doesn't have enough power, it won't cut, plain and simply. It's going to be a little too close, I think, but we'll see. Made the UI a lot more crisper. So we power our thing on. I'm a little off the optimal, but 11% resistance isn't bad. The instability. The reason why I'm getting this is the 20% has festinite, or vexillite, I should say. Sorry, 14k. That's a good haul. And the UI in these mine turrets is exactly the same as the prospectors. It's just you have a separate turret. So now, if you were to have multiple people, all of your computers, everything would add up. So if someone's scanning other things, it'll work no problem. So now we're just gonna bump our power up. If we were up that optimal range, this would be a lot easier. Normally the marker stays because I got out and I put the gadget on it. But anyways, when we finally get this rock cracked, we'll see what's going on. But before we do though, this 14k rock you would not be able to break a rock this size using the prospector. So right then and there, the mole right there, to me, even as a solo mining platform, has a lot more viability. The prospector's great because you get in and out, you can pick stuff up, but the mole itself can hold more, it can break more, and to me, it's just worth your time. A lot more of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill her up, and then you can see kind of the mix that you have, but you have 3 times as much. You got 96 as opposed to 32. You have larger lasers, and then if I had a party member in here, like, this rock would just be done. We would be attempting that 30,000 rock with 2 people, but not solo. I know I won't be able to break that. Even this one with the material makeup, I was a little concerned that it wouldn't work. But anyways, in my opinion, is the mole better? Yes. It's a little slower when you're doing solo, but in my opinion, it's better for now. Now, once they implement engineering and all these other things, will it be better? I don't know. That's all speculation and theory crafting and completely, hearsay. So I'm not at all that worried, because when that happens, we'll just change it. Plain and simple. All right. So now, before my so now, as you saw, that 14K rock we cracked with literally no effort. Had the gadget on it. So if you're not sure about gadgets or how to get it to work, I'll put a card for it there. But 14, 18K, even 20K rocks of very unique mix-ups and right on optimal range. And if you hold your tongue the right way, you can break solo. But up to a group, you can do 30, 40K, and if not even more as a group. All right, so we're close enough to being full. I've only cracked 3 rocks, and I got 14, 25, 30, about 36. I mean, granted, this was a very sloppy load. So I had 36 SU of useful stuff that I would refine normally. So let's take this back to ArcL1 or any refinery for that matter. And then we'll see how much it's worth raw. And then essentially it's almost double that minus a small refinery fee. So we've docked, we've stored our ship, our mole, and then we're going to head to the refinery of our choice. For me, it's always ArcL1 because that's where all my stuff is based. But, Mick L1, her L1, her L2, crew L1. I'm pretty sure there's a couple I'm missing. But those are the ones I've operated out of in the past based on where I started. And it's, it's all the same, really. Some have bonuses to the other, to certain things. So if you're looking for certain things, get a bit of a bonus. Great. So we could refine our stuff. And to give you an idea how much refining is going to be for our load, for example, So, like, we got 57 SCU of iron, which is kind of useless. We got 14 of bexylite. No, we don't. We want to refine this. We don't want to refine that. Oh, we'll grab that too. Oh, no, maybe not. That, and that. So that's 30 SCU right there, give or take. But isn't really a good run for the mole, honestly. But the good thing about the mole is it doesn't matter. So that's 10K and 61 hours wait time. So if you're gonna just bang out a bunch of mining and you're good for waiting a while, this method will be good for you, and that'll net. That's about 80. We'll say about 120K for this load, under an hour. But if we come over here and we just sell it raw, let's see what we can get for it raw. So raw alone is, with the iron and everything else, 87K. So worst case, you don't want to wait that 61 hours and get maybe another, probably about 150K out of this load. You could do this and get money right away. Not really a bad haul, honestly, for an absolute crap mole load. Not a bad haul. I would probably personally, if I were to actually be doing this to make money, I would just be refining. Like, I would refine all my higher end stuff to make it worth my time to take and sell. But you know what? I'm going to take all this. I'm going to sell all this right now because I'm happy with the 87K. 87K for about a half hour's worth of work, so 160K an hour on a crap RNG dice roll, so to speak, is pretty good. If you are a lot more patient, if you're willing to take a bit more time and, stockpile the good stuff and then once a week run them all down, you could easily make millions in a load. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope this kind of gave you shed a little bit of light on kind of what the mole really shines with, what you can kind of do with it. And, and let me know in the comments down below, if you have a mole, what mining heads or gadgets do you use? Don't forget, if you like this, to leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe as well. Helps me out, helps everybody else out in the process. Anyways, thank you very much, everybody. I'll see you next time.